What's up YouTube, Playmat here, and today I'm reviving my Yu-Gi-Oh! Rulings for You segment. First I want to talk about the battle phase. There's been a lot of questions about multiple chains within the battle phase, so I'm just going to break down the battle phase for you. You enter the battle phase, you're in the start step of the battle phase. Any player can activate things in the battle phase before any attack is declared. So things like Armades, people have been thinking that if they just go into battle phase and then attack, you still can't activate a compulsory on it. The fact is you can, you just have to do it in the start step. And then we go into the battle step upon attack declaration. Now, any number of chains can also resolve in this step. Upon attack declaration, you can only activate one card that specifically can only be activated when your opponent attacks. So the first card in the first chain in the battle step, after attack declaration, can be something like Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison. You can't then have your opponent negate that trap and then activate another, Mirror Force, because you're no longer responding to an attack declaration, you're responding to, let's say, a trap stun or whatever. You can only activate things that respond to the attack declaration once per battle. However, all in the battle step you can activate things like Sinister Shadow Games. That's the first chain. Let's say they don't activate anything in response, so you flip your monster, you send a monster to the grave first, and then you want to use a new chain to activate both effects, which is also fine. So then you resolve those. Still in the battle step, you can activate any other card. Both players can activate any other card, Book of Moon, or anything like that in a new chain. And you do not go on to the damage step until both players are finished activating any quick effects and are happy to move on to the damage step. Then there is the damage step. Then there's damage calc. If they can be activated in damage calculation, almost every card says activate this card during damage calculation, or during damage calculation, do this, that, and the other. That's damage calculation. So, for example, I've got a Shaddoll Dragon, and they've got a attack position Memel Abyss Lind. I attack it. It's the damage step. They don't use anything. They don't stop me. It's then damage calculation, because we work out that they lose 400 life points. We're still in the damage step. Lind dies. We're after damage calculation. Lind resolves her effect within the damage step, and any number of chains can resolve here as well. So Lind can summon Pike. Pike can activate its effect. Discard, search. The thing that discarded can activate its effect. Like a Atlantean or whatever. And this is all still in the damage step. We then finish the damage step, and we can continue to the next battle step. There is only one start step, and that's just this for the start of the battle phase. So sorry to go on about the battle phase. That's the battle phase, basically. Moving on to skill drain. There's been a bit of confusion in terms of effect failure and Phoenix Chain in the past about can you use effect failure on a monster that's already Phoenix Chained, and the answer to that question is no, because you can't negate the same monster twice. People then have been asking the question and applying the same logic to skill drain. So for example, if you use Mystical Space Typhoon on a face-up skill drain, can you chain the second skill drain so that monster effects never come into effect? And the answer is yes. You can chain you can have multiple skill drains face up on the field at a time, because they aren't targeting or negating a specific monster. They are just continuous traps which negate all of those face up on the field, and there is no reason why you cannot have two face up skill drain at once at all. The next question is about can you Solemn Warning? Can you Stellanova Alpha monsters that have been summoned that cannot be affected by traps before they are face up on the field? So the best example is Bixie, Water of the Yangsing, because its effect, a synchro monster that used this card as a synchro material, is unaffected by trap effects. So when you use this as a material for a synchro, the card doesn't have to be face up on the field in order to be unaffected by traps. For example, so basically the answer is no, you cannot Stellanova Alpha, you cannot Solemn Warning that monster, because it isn't that monster that's making them unaffected by traps. They're being unaffected by traps as soon as the synchro is attempted. It is inherent, and Bixie is already stopping that monster from being able to be Solemn Warninged or from being Stellanova Alpha or any other form of affected by traps. So yeah. This is also not an effect that activates, so you can't Divine Wrath it or anything like that. The next question is about Tour Guide and kind of about Shaddoll Fusion as well. So I've seen in the past where people have summoned Tour Guide, got into their deck, and then actively wanted to summon a card from their hand, and forgot and just went into their deck because they summoned a Tour Guide, or they've gone through their deck, find out that they have no targets in their deck, and then summon from their hand. They're allowed to go through their deck, and they don't have to reveal their deck to show they don't have any targets at all for Tour Guide. Unless Tour Guide hasn't got a target in hand or deck and you've activated the effect, then you do have to obviously reveal. But no, if you go through the deck with Tour Guide or with Shaddoll Fusion, then you don't have to show your opponent your deck if you choose not to use things from your deck. You can just use the things from your hand. The next question is with Divine Wrath and monsters that go to the top of the extra deck. They are monsters, they are activating their effects. You can Divine Wrath them. So when you tribute a carrier, it obviously activates its effect to return one monster on the field to the owner's hand. And basically you can Divine Wrath it, you can negate and destroy it, and someone was asking, can you destroy a card that's in the extra deck? And the answer is yes. And it would go to the graveyard. It would get negated, it would get destroyed, and it would go to the graveyard. If you Divine Wrath any monster in the Pendulum Zone activating its effect in the Pendulum Zone. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. The next one is with Vanity's Emptiness. I think there's a lot of people who've kind of dodged this one. But we all know the ruling, or almost everyone knows the ruling, that every card in a chain goes to the graveyard at the end of the resolved chain. But official ruling on the Judge Forum is that this card would get destroyed because it resolves and everything in the chain then goes to the graveyard. That's, it's in the rulebook, basically about the chains, and every card going to the graveyard at the end of the chain. So yeah, Vanity's Emptiness, if it's in a chain and any of your cards that go to the graveyard during that chain, this card goes to the grave as well. And the last question was just a little funny question. If you have no cards left in your deck, can you use Rank Up Magic instead of losing the game? And the answer is, unfortunately, no. It says, during your draw phase, if this card is in your graveyard, instead of conducting your normal draw, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. So basically, you can't add this to your hand instead because you can't physically draw a card, is how it's been ruled. So yeah, if you've got no cards in your deck and this is in your graveyard, unfortunately you cannot conduct your draw phase because you cannot do something instead if you cannot do the thing that you wanted to do in the first place. Thanks for watching this video, guys. From now on, I'll be giving away one pack with every one of my videos from prize support that I've received at tournaments. If you'd like to win one of these packs, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment on this video. The winner will be whoever leaves the most interesting question or the best comment on this video. I will then private message you on YouTube and send you your pack for free. Till next time, guys, Play Matter, signing out.